I'm Roniel.
I'm DaRon.
Oh man, you guys, I haven't said this in a long time, but it's not even full. But get you some Fiji water. Get you some water in your life. Period. I don't know. It keeps disappearing for some reason. But you guys need to get some Wawa. Okay, if you don't have any Wawa, don't be like Ron and not able to talk. And I think Rania was like that too. Myself, I get bring back the water. So guys, if you want to sponsor us, Fiji, any water company, please, we'll love it. But anyways, what is the topic of the day, Deron? What do you have on your mind?
So let's actually talk another case. I had, and there are many different variants of this, but I recently had a woman. Actually, it started with her ex boyfriend, who was a lawyer, who called my partner asking for some help, and so I got put in contact with this lawyer, and the lawyer explained that his ex girlfriend had been almost scammed, and he wanted to see if we could find the individuals and take care of the situation. So I called her up and I was talking to her, and she explained, and it gets confusing. So you'll have to bear with me for a minute. I'm going to go through this as she explained it to me in that order. So she explained that she was sent a text message on her phone telling her that she needed to call a number because her subscription with Norton was a trial subscription and it was about to expire, so they were going to charge the credit card on file $500. Norton's not $500. But she says they texted me, I called the number, and I talked with the guy for a little bit, but something was wrong, so I hung up. And I said, "Oh, okay. So you didn't download anything onto your computer?" She's like, "No, I didn't download anything." And I said, "Oh, well, you don't have anything to worry about then because you didn't." She told me she didn't give them any of her bank account data. She didn't do anything, and she didn't download anything. I said, "Oh, well, you have nothing to worry about." That was a stupid statement on my part. I assumed she knew what she was talking about when she said she didn't download anything. It turned out, in fact, she had actually downloaded and installed a remote desktop application, and they had run it, and they were on her computer. And what she was then, I managed to tease that out of her, and I was like, wait a minute. I obviously didn't go through and say, well, you said you didn't download anything, because it's not beneficial to point out that the individual, she was an older person,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't matter. It doesn't do any favors to point out that they were wrong when they told you they didn't download and install something. But she had downloaded some software onto her Macintosh. I found out that's what she was using. And she was on the phone with this person, and they went into her Schwab account and were actually trying to do a money transfer. And now the way he was doing it, though, was the typical while you're sitting there staring at the screen and they're talking to you, they will turn off your screen so you can't see what they're doing, and then they'll do whatever it is they want at that time. For example, he was trying to grab the files off of her computer at the same time as go through and set up a wire transfer from her Charles Schwab account to transfer $200,000 because that's how much she
Ooh.
had to their bank account. And I guess what happened was she started to, when he kept turning off the screen, she kept asking, well, what are you doing? Why can't I see anything? You need to explain what you're doing. And he started to get mean and I guess apparently cuss at her. Just I'm like that's not great. I've actually had scammers call, and I think you and I talked about it once, and I screw with them every time, and they do start cussing really quickly into it. Like one time, this guy sat there and I was playing really stupid, like really stupid. And he goes, well, you know what? I fucked your mother, and hung up. And I'm laughing my head off. I just laughing. I mean, and this is in an Indian accent, a thick Indian accent. And I'm laughing my head off. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're the worst. I had irked him so much by wasting his time that he just started cussing at me. And then he hung up on me.
Oh man. Like
Oh,
I have had Nigerians, Indians, and all like call me, and I'll listen to what they're saying, and I don't. A lot of times I don't play the game, but I'll just listen, and I was like, that I know that you're scamming, right? And it's like, no, 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 sir. I'm like, yes, I do. I already know the game. You don't even have to do it, and they'll get so mad that I know that they're scamming, and I'll tell them what type of scam it is, and I'm like, I'm not giving you my money. Are you think I'm an idiot? Like, no. Try harder. Try
yes.
again. And then I hang up and then they call back and they start cussing at me and I'm just like, click. And that's another reason why I have my phone on Do Not Disturb a lot because
Right.
they have those robocall things, but they don't really work very well. And it's
No.
not like you can actually, you know, block the range.
Right.
So it's like they keep calling from different numbers and you can't block a range of numbers. So it's like, what the hell is the point? So I
Right.
just like forget it. I'm gonna put it on D&D, and anybody that's not in my favorites or favorite contact, and they won't get to me. If it's important, they'll leave a voicemail or they'll text me if I know you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And if you didn't know, his phone comes with Dungeons and Dragons mode.
Yeah, Dungeon and Dragons. That is the new that's the new thing that's been around for a long time on your phone. So if you guys know to go get it, and it will block everybody. All right.
Even
It's
me.
really, yeah. Even him, even though he's on my favorites list, he has to call like 10, 20 times. And then he complains about not getting through. I don't know what's wrong with the Dungeon and Dragon mode. You got to get that fixed. Like maybe I should put a ticket in there or something about that. So yeah, you guys go get Dungeon and Dragon mode for your iPhone. It really works. Somebody's gonna be like, dude, you said go download this thing and it was supposed to work
It
on
was
my phone
malware.
and yeah. No. It D&D, do not disturb. Please do not go download any Dungeon and Dragon modes for your phone and then get spammed with malware and then say that we did it. We didn't.
Now, the interesting thing to me was, I guess at some point after when he started getting real angry and cussing at her, that's when she hung up on him and she called Charles Schwab. And Schwab sat
Mm.
there and was like, "Oh, you're being scammed." They locked the account temporarily. They reversed the transfer. They did a whole bunch of stuff to take care of everything and make it so that she was squared away. Interestingly, I'll tell you, she talked to some of her family members about what happened, and she was asking me, "Oh, well, what can I do to either hamper this thing kind of thing in the future or what have you?" And what you said is one thing you can do if you're able to, and you know in general who's going to call. Definitely make it so your phone rejects most, if not all, phone calls. You're right. Unfortunately, these scammers, they have massive ranges. They spoof phone numbers like mad. It gets difficult for any of these call blocking tools, and there are a lot out there to actually be successful. So a large part of it comes down to user education. And she kept telling me she felt so dumb because she works in an industry where she gets that constant education about phishing and these phone calls and things of that nature. And I've actually known quite a few professionals, and I told her I've known quite a few professionals who have been compromised, horribly compromised, and she shouldn't feel bad. She shouldn't. It happens. But one of the suggestions was that she should get a VPN. And I was like, yeah, I said, I don't know who suggested that or what their intent was, but a VPN would not have stopped this in any way, shape, or form.
This is the human error,
Mm-hmm.
trade off of human stupidity. Not saying she's stupid, but
Right.
her vulnerability, like, knowing that she might have known there, and she did, they preyed off of that, and she didn't know better. So, it's not her fault that she didn't know better. Now that you should be better equipped for it the next time.
Right.
But getting a VPN is not the answer. And then what about the VPN scams?
Right. Yes.
Now you have another scam on your hands.
Yes. Yes. And that's like one of them had suggested ExpressVPN, and I'm like, that's not going to do anything for you. I know that they do a lot of commercials on YouTube and all over the place, but no, that won't help you. And what I did tell her is what she actually needs to know is how to quickly turn off her router or unplug her router or modem or what have you in case someone does something like this in the future, because they had control of her computer, so it's not like she could even shut it down. Because Macintoshes, they're not as user friendly as they purport to be, and it can be to describe to her how to power off her machine when there's not an obvious power button, and then get her to remember it wasn't going to happen. She was near retirement, and instead I told her, okay, we walked through where her modem was. This is all on a phone call. We walked through where her modem was, and I said, all you have to do is unplug that little thing there, and you would have severed the connection right then and there. And then you could have called Charles Schwab, and you'd know that they're no longer in your computer. Is that great? No, because they had access, and you still need to get the computer cleaned up. But it, at least in this particular case, you've stopped the hemorrhaging, so now you can actually look into what you need to do next. And that, I think, is one of the big keys here. Obviously, we want to prevent the scam. We want to prevent you from getting bamboozled. If people call you or text you or email you and they're having you install things or they're taking control of your computer, the best thing at that point is to sever the connection. Because they're already on. Sever the connection, and you need to hand the computer over to a professional who can get it cleaned. But VPN won't help you.
Mm-mm. No, yeah, that would be the first thing, because even if you were a professional and knew how to kick them off, they would still be on your machine and probably can stop you from doing whatever. So the best thing would be to sever the connection and then, give it to a professional to wipe it off. Or if you do know how to do that, then you know what you should do. And please don't restore it back to the
Right.
restore point. Please don't. Uh, if you haven't checked one of our videos already, you would, I forgot which one it is, but we talked about that. So
Yes.
restoring back to backup or restore point or iCloud does not stop the attack. It will just
Yep.
restart again. It will just re-put that stuff back on your computer. So you don't want to do that. So if you are a professional, you know what you're doing, you know not to do that. If you're not, then go to somebody like DaRon, somebody who knows what they're doing with malware and forensics and stuff, and you'll be
Roniel.
on the right track. And
He
Roniel,
didn't say himself, but Roniel.
I didn't say that because I'm not a digital forensic person, but I obviously do know how to get stuff off my machine. But he does this for a living. I stopped doing this a while ago. I stopped doing other stuff, but no, really, go to somebody like him or myself, and you'll be okay. There's so many scams out here. Again, we want to warn everybody about these scams, and we'll probably in the future have a lot of talk about a lot of different scams to prevent people from getting hacked or losing money. But the number one thing to be aware of is that people prey on your stupidity or your vulnerabilities, and that could be you like cats, you have Norton, you have VPN, you have whatever that you really really love. It could be cooking.
Right.
They prey on those things. So again, You have to be careful on who you're talking to. If they're asking you for money, no. That's
Right.
not how that works. Especially with applications. If you haven't put, I don't remember having to do that, but if you haven't even signed up for a subscription and you haven't, then why are they asking you for money?
Right.
Most of the time, it's a little different on how they do the subscription things based. But again, they're calling you, asking you for money. That's a no. You don't know them, and especially if they have a thick accent. I'm not saying that it's always like that, but all of these attacks are coming from India, Nigeria, all of these Middle East
Ghana,
areas.
yes,
So,
yes,
yeah.
Pakistan.
So yeah, no. That's a red flag. No, that goes back to even our other episode where we talked about the scam with the dating stuff.
Right.
Anybody that's asking you for money, that's a red flag.
Right.
Don't do it. And don't download any software or download anything from somebody you do not trust.
Right.
And even if you trust them, you should still be careful.
Right.
I trust DaRon, but that doesn't mean I trust him.
That's true. That's true.
But
yes, I've actively told you. I know a lot of people who have told me that they will not open anything I send them, and they won't click on links that I send them. And they've known me for a long time, and those are the people who know.
No. Like if you really know it's somebody that does this for a living, even if it's a joke, you may do it as a joke, but you got to trust your instincts. No, don't do it. All right. There's too many scams. So as I said before, you have to be careful. Use your common sense. And even if you're older, don't download random things from people. Don't do things that people are calling you, asking you that you don't know and don't trust. So that is a good way to try to prevent scamming. And then those robocall things don't really work. So D&D or Dungeons and Dragons, whatever you want to call it, but do not disturb will probably be your best bet. And then set up your favorites and your contacts for people you trust that that you talk to on a daily basis. And that'll eliminate some of the scamming. And then if they are important, they will go to they'll text you, they'll send you a message, whatever. But you kind of you got to lock down your life. You got to harden your life. Something I'm going to keep saying. You got to harden your life to protect yourself from all these malicious and bad people. So, and if not, you'll probably have to go through all of these horrible things, and then you'll hit up DaRon and probably get you back on track. But either way, not even probably he will. But either way, that's my recommendation. I don't know what you think, DaRon.
Yeah. User education is great, but as we see here, it can fail. I mean, I've seen it fail numerous times. It's why you need to have backups.
Oh yeah, that's something that people don't really do. They don't have backups and they don't have a backup plan. But again, be careful on the backups.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you have a backup, you probably still want to give it to a professional to make sure that everything is clean. So, but you have to have a backup plan, a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and even plan for F. So, it's very, very important, and can't stress enough that literally harden your life, backup things, have backup plans, and make sure that you don't talk to people you don't trust, and you don't install things from people that you don't trust. Okay, so that's our segment. I'm Roniel.
I'm DaRon.
And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more episodes like this one. Until next time.
Have fun.
Have fun.